Every story following a hero also follows one rule. The hero must grow. But Frieren breaks that rule. She doesn't change. At all. By placing a static character in a dynamic world, the anime breaks story writing conventions and conveys the beautiful lie of Frieren's supposed character arc. But then, how does the show convey any feelings of progress or development? It does so by surrounding its unchanging core with equally brilliantly executed dynamic characters. These characters act as narrative mirrors, constantly changing and growing in ways that reflect Frieren's stillness. Let's start with Fern. Her journey is a typical dynamic coming-of-age story, and it begins before she even meets Frieren. As a war orphan taken in by the priest Haita, her initial motivation to learn magic is born from a sense of duty and gratitude to her surrogate father. She wants him to know that she will be fine on her own. Her motivation is pure circumstance, but when she meets Frieren, this sense of duty is transferred onto her. Initially, she is the responsible one, having to wake up her lazy master every morning and make sure that they stick to their schedule. Fern operates on a human timescale of urgency and responsibility. Her concerns are immediate and tangible, while Frieren is concerned only with the abstract and ancient, often wanting to spend years or even decades at places that provide little to no value to a human. As Fern later on herself admits, during the mage exam, she is skilled, but unlike Frieren, she lacks passion for magic itself. Her journey is about finding her own reason to continue, to move beyond the duties imposed upon her by others. However, even though she is unsure of where her path will lead her, she knows that the path she is walking is the right one. As Frieren put it, as the story progresses, Fern's power grows rapidly. She becomes a prodigy, a certified first-class mage whose magical prowess begins to rival and in some ways exceeds Frieren's. There is this one scene that one could write off as pure fan service, but it mirrors this development in an interesting way. When Frieren remarks she can only see half the sky because of Fern's developing chest, it makes her jealous. Frieren, the ancient, unchanging being witnessing the shockingly rapid pace of human maturation firsthand. In that moment, Frieren is confronted with the physical and emotional growth that is completely alien to her elven nature. It's a moment of temporal dissonance and is a moment of many that leads to Frieren predicting that Fern will one day surpass her entirely. Once again, Frieren is an observer of change, not a participant. Fern's dynamic arc reaches its climax when she figuratively surpasses Frieren by killing her clone and being offered a prestigious apprenticeship under Seria, the mythical elf who taught Frieren's own master. This would be the ultimate dream for any mage, but Fern refuses. She chooses to stay with Frieren, and this is the moment her transformation is complete. Her connection to Frieren is no longer duty, but a personal choice. Just like she once chose magic, she now chose Frieren. She has found her own reason to be. She has changed. Now let's turn to Frieren's second mirror. Stark is the third member of the new party, and his master is Eisen, another one of Frieren's legendary companions. If Fern is going through a classical coming-of-age story, then Stark is going through an equally classic arc. The hero overcoming their flaw. When we meet him, he is paralyzed by the trauma of his past, living as a fake hero in a village he can't protect because he is, in his own words, a coward. Because when his family was attacked and was in need of help, he chose to run away and abandon them, leaving him to suffer this guilt and doom him to freeze in fear in every battle. When Stark overcomes this and can finally display his strength against the beast, a similar technique is used that was previously also used with Frieren's backstory. Just like Frieren gets a new perspective on her past relationships with humans, we get a new perspective on Stark's past. It turns out he didn't abandon his family sacrificed themselves so that he could live. And the dragon didn't decide to spare the village out of pity when seeing the weak Stark, but instead the smart dragon wasn't dumb enough to pick a fight with someone as dangerous as him. It beautifully displays how a changed perspective on past events help both Stark and Frieren live up to their highest potentials. Stark is further used to reflect on Frieren's past. He mirrors Himmel in certain ways. He helps villagers with insignificant tasks, he has a simple kindness about him, He too doesn't pull out the hero's sword from the stone, and he gifts his romantic interest a symbol of love. They are even shown to eat the same foods or stand in the same places. However, it is important to clarify that Stark is not a stand-in replacement for Himmel. His developing heroism rhymes with Himmel's, which allows Frieren to see echoes of the past in her present. He triggers her memories, but he himself is on his own separate dynamic path. His fight against the demon Linie is another key point. The solution to an enemy who can copy his every move is a simple lesson that his master Eisen the Dwarf beat into him. Get up every time you knock down. Stark's development is about reinforcing his existing will to overcome his internal fear. It's a purely dynamic struggle that Frieren, who has never known such fear, can only observe and facilitate. Throughout both Fern's journey from duty to desire and Stark's journey from fear to courage, Frieren stands still, and in her stillness she creates the space for everyone around her to complete their own hero's journey. But to truly grasp the genius of Frieren's writing, we must also look at Frieren's sworn enemies. Demons. Because demons in the world of Frieren act as a dark narrative mirror to her. They are also static beings. They cannot fundamentally change their nature. Frieren is known in-universe under the title The Demon Slayer. Her lifelong battle against demons is not just about revenge for her destroyed village. It's a metaphorical rejection of what she fears she could be, an ancient, unchanging creature that is fundamentally incompatible with the human world. Her entire existence is a defiant attempt to prove that to be static does not mean to be inhuman. As her master Flamme explained, demons learn to speak the human language for one reason only: to deceive and hunt their prey. Their words are weapons, their emotions mimicry. They represent a negative stasis, a state of malice, unalterable and incapable of forming emotional bonds. They are a void that can imitate emotions but never feel them. Frieren, on the other hand, represents a positive stasis. She may be slow, detached and emotionally reserved, but her capacity to form a personal bond is real. Her stillness is a vessel that can collect experiences, emotions and memories, even if it takes her centuries to process them. Her war against demons is a war to prove that her stillness is fundamentally different from theirs. And there could be no better case to demonstrate my point, but my personal favorite demon, Lügner, whose German name literally translates to liar. He is the perfect embodiment of the demonic antithesis. There is this brilliant scene where he is about to be attacked in the bedroom and he calmly scans the room for data points to construct the most believable, emotionally manipulative narrative to defuse the situation. Later he admits, without a hint of remorse, that he has no idea what a father even is. The concept is alien to him. He can mimic the sentiment, but he cannot comprehend the bond of a family. This is the difference. Frieren at the start of her journey couldn't fully comprehend the implications of her bond with Himmel, but the bond itself was undeniably real. Lügen's bonds are merely fabricated. He is a static embodiment of malice. Frieren is a static vessel of memory, and her entire quest against the demons is to prove to herself the difference between the two. After all this, what is the final verdict? For me, it comes quite late, during the first class mage exam. During the first test, Frieren helps two fellow mages, Kanne and Lavina. Afterwards, both show up to her to display their gratitude. In this moment, she has a flashback to Himmel, who told her that it is unprovoked kindness that matters the most. Now, pay close attention to the sequence of these events. If Frieren were a dynamic character on a journey of change, she would have remembered Himmel's words, and then, motivated by that memory, she would have decided to help the two mages. That is how a traditional character arc works. But that is not what happened here. She helped first, simply because it is in her nature to do so. The memory of Himmel comes afterwards as a pleasant reflection and confirmation of a path that she is already on. Her heroism doesn't need to be learned, as it is innate to her. So, the great lie of Frieren is revealed. Frieren Beyond Journey's End doesn't fail the hero's journey. It proves that a compelling narrative doesn't always require its protagonist to change. By placing a static hero at the center of an ever-changing dynamic world, the writers told a unique story. one about how fleeting and fragile human life is, revealed through Frieren's own timeless, unchanging and loving perspective. There are so many characters in the show that relate to Frieren. Write down in the comments which encounters you find the most meaningful. Please also subscribe to the channel, it means more than you know. Thanks for watching.